In Revenge of the Sith, the Dark Lord Sidious used his lightsabers in two separate confrontations, the first being his duel with Mace Windu, where he brandished his originally crafted lightsaber, and then once again against Grandmaster Yoda, where he utilized his backup lightsaber. We know Palpatine rarely used his lightsabers, only doing so when he felt it necessary, or when he wished to display his superiority over other users of the weapon. In reality, Palpatine never liked lightsabers, and viewed their use as uncivilized and archaic, preferring instead to rely on his skill with the dark side of the Force, or his intellect to dispatch his enemies. However, Palpatine did still practice with lightsabers, as although he never preferred their use, he did see it as necessary to learn how to effectively fight with one. In canon, Sidious actually did indeed use a lightsaber after Revenge of the Sith. In the canon novel Lords of the Sith, both Palpatine and Vader ventured onto the planet of Ryloth to stomp out a rebellion that was brewing. The planet was very special, and quite important to Palpatine, as it had proven to be a valuable source of slave labor, and also was home to a valuable drug known by the locals as spice. Because of this, Palpatine wished to deal with the matter himself, to make an example of those responsible for the uprising. While descending to the planet, however, the Sith Lord's Star Destroyer was attacked in orbit, and Vader only barely managed to save it through his skill as a pilot. However, once the rebels discovered their plan had failed, they went to Plan B, sending more fighters towards the Star Destroyer in disguise as maintenance ships. Once docked to the Star Destroyer, several strike teams deployed from within the ships, eventually planting explosives at the core of the Star Destroyer and detonating them, forcing Vader, Palpatine, and the Royal Guards to flee in a shuttle. The rebels saw the rare opportunity of Palpatine emerging from the darkness as one they could not pass up, and through much effort successfully shot down the Star Destroyer. Once on the planet, following an attack by the Twi'lek rebellion, the two Sith escaped into the jungle of the planet, where they encountered a swarm of gigantic deadly insects known as lilacs. It was here that Sidious revealed he still carried a lightsaber, and together, he and Vader both fought off the swarm, eventually killing the Queen Lilac. At one point during their battle with the Lilacs, Vader contemplated allowing his master to die, so that he may become the Emperor and rule the Empire. However, he decided against it in fear of the power and knowledge his master held. After their encounter with the creatures, Sidious and Vader encountered a Twi'lek woman, and Sidious activated his lightsaber, preparing to strike her down. However, Vader stopped him and suggested they let the woman lead them to her village, where they may be able to find a ship. Although begrudgingly, Sidious agreed. However, he told Vader that because of his mercy, he had now doomed the entire village. Once at the village, it was revealed the whole attack was allowed by Palpatine, as he used it to draw out the rebels on Ryloth, so that they could then be destroyed by the Empire. While at the village, stormtroopers arrived and destroyed the rebels, while Sidious also revealed it was also meant to be a test for Vader, to see the extent of his command over the dark side, and more importantly, his loyalty to the Emperor. Palpatine then ordered Vader to personally kill the entire village, to leave zero witnesses to what had occurred. So that is the last time in canon we know of Sidious using a lightsaber. Again, as said earlier, he never really favored the weapon, as he saw his force abilities as far superior to anything the blade could grant him. But what is really interesting is that he did still carry one, at least up until that point, and he likely still did up until the day he died. I do want to point this out though. There are still various novels and comics with Palpatine in them being released, detailing the events between Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi, and there is a possibility he could use his lightsaber in one of these yet to be released. There is also the possibility that the group known as the Acolytes of the Beyond have found one of Palpatine's lightsabers, as it has been suggested, although he seldom used them, he had them meticulously hidden throughout locations he often visited. An example of this is when Palpatine hid his original blade in one of the statues in his office that was supposedly there waiting for years, which would suggest the two blades he brandished against Maw and Savage Opress were separate sabers than the one he used in his duel with Windu. In Aftermath, the Acolytes actually believed they were purchasing Vader's lightsaber. However, I find the much more likely option is that it was one of Palpatine's salvaged after his death. In Aftermath Life Debt, the Acolytes retrieved yet another Crimson Saber, and I believe it is safe to say that if they continued their scavenging for the weapons up until the time of The Force Awakens, it is fair to assume at least one at one point belonged to Palpatine. So that is the answer from Canon. I really hope at one point Palpatine uses a lightsaber again in one of the comics or books, or perhaps maybe even a film, although I really like the idea of him using them to be an extremely rare occurrence, as it makes the moments when he does use one really exciting. So how do you feel about this? Would you like to see Palpatine use a lightsaber more often, or do you prefer it when he brandishes one on very rare occasions and primarily uses the dark side? If you have any other lore topics or questions you want answered, do not hesitate to tweet them at me at StupendousWave on Twitter, or leave a comment below and I will try my best to answer or make a full video dedicated to your topic. Thanks so much for watching, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.